Hi. Many of you have said that you enjoyed the video, so I think I'm going to continue to respond to discussions that way. I would like to actually respond to 3 discussion boards. 3. I'm a little late on the Newsweek one, but I felt I had to say something. I just have one thing to say about the Newsweek article. The question asked you, what in the writing of the article, or what in the article shows the writer's sympathy or lack of sympathy for the civil rights movement? So I want to be clear about that. And many of you noted that the details the writer chose to tell that he didn't have to choose. For example, Cynthia Wesley getting ready in the morning, having breakfast, feeding the dog, having kindergarten leaflets splattered with blood. These are details that aren't really necessary to report the facts or the story, but they are ones that certainly create sympathy in the minds of the readers. So many of you pointed out the details and then also the language that was chosen. And some of you, though, said that there wasn't much sympathy based on what authorities in the town were doing and things like that. You noted that in Alabama, 2 lunch counters were desegregated out of the whole city, and that doesn't really seem to be good progress towards civil rights. And you're right, but the question isn't about the people involved. It was about the way the writer told the story. And that's very important and going to be important as we continue our study. So that was the Newsweek article, number 1. Number 2, I would like to say something about the midterm evaluations. First of all, thank you for the positive feedback. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a vacuum in this online class, even though we're communicating. And I think maybe I'm falling short or not doing some things well because I tend to focus on what I wish I was doing better. So thank you for the positive comments. I would like to address a couple of the comments that you made that were of concern. And first was page numbers. I think Larry asked me to be clearer with putting the page numbers because retellings is sometimes a hard text to follow. Anytime I can, I will try to do that more often if I don't have the page numbers on assignment. So I will heed that advice. Second thing I really wanted to say was about the many steps I give to the bigger assignments. I only do that so that people won't procrastinate and put off a big assignment until the very last minute. I am completely flexible on those types of pre-writing steps. I still want to see some kind of pre-writing from you and some sort of evidence that you're working towards the end product, but you don't have to do my worksheets. Just email me or come see me and we'll work that out. For example, Tanya and I conferenced quite a bit on this first essay, and she didn't really need to do and wasn't comfortable doing the outline form, and I said fine. And then once I saw her rough draft and we conferenced, I gave her the points for that. So I can work with you in the same way. So as you look at the writing assignments and the different pieces that go to it, just let me know. And actually they decrease as we go on. I want you to know that first essay, the most difficult essay of the semester. The second one is challenging in its subject matter, but not in its format, like the compare-contrast was. And then the third one is even simpler still. So as we move on, those actually lessen. But just let me know, and we can put those points in there, or I can for you. Last thing I want to say is on the discussion boards, because Ellen had recommended that I keep them up there so that people can go back and review, especially after this video presentation. That's going to leave us a big list of discussions, and so from now on I'm going to post the latest discussion board in the first position so that when you go to the discussion board, the latest discussion will be the first one. So I will keep putting them up there in the first position as we move on, so look for them there. Okay, and that covers the midterm evaluation comments. Last comments are on the Telltale Heart and My Last Duchess. First of all, congratulations to those who chose to write on My Last Duchess, because that one's a little bit harder. I hope you looked at those sheets. Terms like the heroic couplet and enjambment and caesura are going to be terms that you will see on the next quiz. Larry cited the lines from the poem at the end, and that was really good. And I would just like to highlight that I thought Larry did a good job with the way he cited from the poem. I also want to say that Jessica Reed, her thread that she posted was what I actually was hoping for a level of discussion on all fronts. That was a very detailed and thorough response. And I want you to know I've been pretty lenient in the discussion board. I just give you your points if you participate. And I'll probably continue to do that. But the discussions are richer and more interesting if you can provide more detail, more thoroughly explain your point of view. And if you want to look at something that I consider an A-plus discussion posting, look at Jessica Reed's For Telltale Heart, her thread that she posted. Also, someone had mentioned this in the midterm evaluations, that it would be helpful if people all posted early on so that everyone had a chance to read everyone else's and post the response later on. And again, I just want to remind you, the deal is you're supposed to post a thread to respond to my question by Thursday, and then that gives you from Thursday until the following Monday to respond. That was the idea. Again, because I am not the best with deadlines myself, I tend to be lenient when people respond later than that, but that was the idea. So if all of you could try to respond initially to a discussion board by Thursday, that would give everyone a chance to kind of read what everyone has to say before they post their response. Just an idea there. I want to say that I enjoyed Dawn's response because it sounded as if she's had a psych class, or if indeed perhaps she's a psychotherapist herself, but she was able to really analyze that character based on some definitions and some requirements that there are to be like sort of a sociopath, psychopath. So Dawn's posting was very good. And I want to bring up one last thing about the Telltale Heart, and that is Davin brought up a good point where he said that it would be one thing if the narrator was talking to somebody, but he seems to be talking to himself. And I would challenge you with that question, who is the narrator talking to in the Telltale Heart? I want you to know that sometimes that story is read as a confession, as if he is making his confession then after he sort of gave up the ghost, so to speak, or let the cat out of the bag and revealed the fact that he had murdered the old man. Some people read it as a confession. It's actually one of the reflective response questions after the story. So you might want to consider who exactly is his audience and how does that affect the way he tells his story. But all of you were just right on with your interpretation of the narrator in the Telltale Heart. So I will close out this longer response, and I will be posting some work for you in the next couple of hours. I'm working on your class now, but A&P, and which is one of the stories you could choose to write on, and What Makes Superman So Darned American are the two readings for this week, and I will be posting a discussion board for one or both of those. So I hope you have a great week. We are over the hump, so to speak, and it's all downhill from here. So I want to encourage you to continue to contact me as you need help, and email me or call me or stop by, and let's have a great second half of the semester. From Keller, Tommy's sleeping in the chair today. I'll say goodbye.